open yourself to them.
So you told us about growing up at home. How was it in school?
I had to change schools 3 times from what I recollect. And it's because I got bullied. I got bullied because I was mixed race, and I was proudly mixed race. I got bullied because my English was good, and why don't I speak Arabic? I have curly hair naturally, and my grandmother makes them into these beautiful ringlets when I was growing up. And I got bullied because why is your hair doing that and it's not straight? So it was really tough as a child. Like in my younger years, I would like sit completely on my own. Kids would bully me because of like what food I would bring to school. I didn't have your sandwiches or whatever. My grandma would cook, and then the next day I would have like this delicious food. But because other kids weren't used to that, or they didn't, they expected a sandwich or a chips bag or chocolate bar. And I would come in with like a full-on like curry and rice and everything. And, I'd get bullied for it. So like even my food would end up on the ground at school most days because they were like, God, just smack it out of my hands. Literally, I'm about to eat, and they would do that. And this was maybe up until the 3rd grade. This was my life. So I was really skinny. I would like cry every day when I'd go home. Like, Nani, like, I hate going to school. Like, everyone's so mean. And I couldn't focus on my education because I was busy being bullied. And, I would sometimes even just like hide in the bathroom so no one can reach me there. So yeah. And once I forgot to lock the door, so someone walked in and they would like yelled at me. And that was like one random memory that I still have as an adult. So I changed schools because of that. And it really was tough because you'd have to adjust all over again. And every time you overcome something and you're like, oh, I'm confident about that now, something else will get picked on. So I think until the 7th grade, this kept happening in different ways. I had friends here and there, but, we still weren't the cool kids, like we were the kids that didn't get invited to all the parties or whatever. And that was fine. I just didn't want to get bullied anymore. So around the time I had to start 8th grade, my mother, how old are you when you start the 8th grade? Like 13, 14?
13.
13, yeah. So, this is the time when you start to blossom, as a woman. And my mom decided that she wanted to put me in a school that's co-ed because, over here we have that gender segregation from 5th grade or something like that onwards. So she wanted me to make sure that I work with, male students, male teachers on a regular basis, and I'm comfortable to work around men. And maybe that also gave me the edge you were asking about to work in a male-dominated field, because being around men didn't faze me whatsoever. I just went in there, did my job, and that was it. So when I joined this new school, this is the British school that I mentioned, I was in 8th grade, and I decided that that's it. Like, no one is messing with me in this school. I'm going to be loud and proud, and that's it. And then they were like, oh, you're too loud, and there was no winning. So in that school, I think I had the best years of my life socially. I couldn't fully be a teenager because of the things that were going on at home. But from year 8 until year 12, I had the best times, best friends. And, I focused on my education, but because I didn't know what I wanted to do, I couldn't really focus on what subjects to pay attention to. So I think by the time I finished my IGCSEs and I went into my A-levels, I did geography, business, and I can't even remember the third one. But none of them worked. Like if you wanted to get into becoming a doctor, you do the sciences. Right. Mine were 3 completely different ones, and they didn't match each other at all. So, biology. Yeah. So that's what I did because I didn't have that direction and that clarity on what I wanted to do. So year 8 till 12 was great, but I was thriving socially. But in terms of my education, I was like, I don't know what I want to do for the rest of my life. So I'm just going to do my best in my examinations, and that was it. So when I was doing well in school, my social life was low. And when my social life went up, because I was lost mentally about what I want to do, my education wasn't the best that it could be, like my results.
Have you overcome the trauma that you've gone through as a child with all the bullying?
Yeah. Yes and no, because, I feel like anybody who would ever have like a racist comment made to them or anything like that, you know, it impacts you. It makes you sad. It makes you angry. It just depends on how it's said to you. And, you know, there was a couple times as an adult where, you know, somebody would go like, oh, you're too dark or anything like that. And I love my complexion now. Like, you know, I call myself caramel glaze, you know, and, you know, it's now I'm proud of it. But as a child, I always wished I was lighter. I would avoid the sun because I wouldn't want to get darker. So I wouldn't really enjoy the beach like everybody else would have enjoyed it to the max. And it's because of the way I got bullied in school and things like that. So now I don't care. I'll be in the sun, and it's something that I've overcome in that way. But it was definitely a long journey. I think it helps that I'm doing what I love to do. Like, I love air traffic control. I'm doing the job I love. I'm even teaching people at work. Like, I'm on the job training instructor, so I'm teaching them. So doing what I'm doing has empowered me. And then, you know, that financial security that you have as a person, as a woman, I'm just like, oh, everyone can get lost. You know, I've made it, and I don't need to care about people that are reflecting their insecurities onto me, because if somebody's mean to you, it's because they're going through emotional turmoil inside of them. So I decided that instead of feeling sad for myself and why did they say that, I'll just feel for them, because clearly they're going through something if they're going to be that mean, you know. So I've decided to learn about why people act that way. And when I realized that people are mean to you or rude to you in any way because they're going through something, I started to change the narrative and change my mindset and be like, what happened to them that they were like that? And, you know, that when I shifted my mindset in that way, that helped me as an adult be like, okay, well, they're going through something, and, you know, if they have to take it out on me because I'm doing what I'm doing and I'm happy and I, you know, they want to bring me down, then that's on them. And I'm not going to allow their sadness or insecurity bring me down. And when I did that shift mentally, and when I had that realization, it was like, wow, like, okay.
This could be advice for people who go through the same thing. But again, it's not okay for someone to constantly pick on you.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like also you have power in your reaction, right? So I decide that, you know, air traffic control, that's what I do. Air traffic control. So what can I control? My reaction. So how I choose to react to certain situations, whether it's positive, negative, neutral, when I realized I have that power, then that helped change everything. Because, you know, if someone's mean to you, it's like, okay, well, you're not worth my time. And at the beginning, it was tough to actually feel that and say it. Now, you know, definitely not. Right. Not worth my time if that's what somebody is going through. So yeah, so I feel like, remember that you do have power in your reaction. And that's advice that I would like to give, like, anybody who's going through a tough time or anything like that, because, you know, choose not to go down to their level. Like Michelle Obama says, go high, you know, so don't stoop down to their level because they just want to drag you down because they see you doing well. Possibly, unless you're not doing well, then they want to drag you lower than you are.